In this video, I'm going to show you how to just kind of tune up your bandsaw so your blade won't drift and cut angled. So how we're going to start this off is on your wheel up here. We took off the shield cover. Now that we have a good look at where the blade is, you want the blade here, the teeth, only the teeth, to be in the very center of the wheel, because a lot of wheels have a crest on them. So once you have that in the center, now the back of the blade is kind of loose and the teeth here have the most tension. So then if you come back down here, if you look at our side guides here, all these are doing, they're keeping the back from fishtailing. And if the back fishtails, the front will fishtail. So if you keep the back straight, then your blade won't drift. So we have these in, we put them in until they touched and then pulled them out just a little bit. You can see we only have a little bit of wobble in there. You don't want these to be constantly touching your blade or pushing them in. And you want to make sure that your teeth here are actually not going in here to the side guides, because if you are clamping down on those teeth, they alternate. One goes out, one angles like that, and they alternate going all the way up the blade. And if you clamp down on that, you would flatten that out and your blade would not cut very well. So you want to have that sticking out just a little bit, and that's going to be centered on your wheel. And then you want to have your bearing just back behind the blade. So whenever you spin the blade, the bearing won't spin, but if you just put a little bit of force on it and spin it, then it's going to be touching the bearing and it's going to spin. That's just about it. Right below the table here is another one of these mechanisms. Just do the same thing, have the bearing right behind the blade, and then have these just a little bit away from the blades so they aren't touching. If you come back here behind the wheel, different bandsaws will have different ways to adjust the blade. Right here, just the tilt, so it'll move your blade either this way or this way, so that's how you can move it. So if you just spin it with your hand and adjust it, and then there's a little lock nut back here to keep it from rattling out, and then this knob up here, that's to adjust your tension so you have the right tension on your blade. Here's an example of what it looked like before. Whenever I tried to do a straight cut, the blade just drifted off to the side and came off. But now this cut's a lot straighter. We can go ahead and put these covers back on to protect us from those spinning wheels. And this is actually a old Delta Rockwell bandsaw, probably back from the 50s, back whenever they actually built stuff with a lot of quality and metal. So this thing is really strong. Now that we have these plates on, we can go ahead and make a cut and see how straight it is. Whenever you're working on the bandsaw, always make sure to unplug it, which it was whenever I tried to turn it on. Now we can go ahead and try to make our cut. And you can see that is much straighter of a cut than what this was doing.